If you want to satisfy your sweet tooth without the calories, and who doesn't, there are countless options out there.
So many options. And in this week's Wellness Wednesday, I investigate just how safe those chemical sweeteners really are. I love the idea of food as medicine, right? I like to think I eat super healthy. So this is a typical lunch. I mean, I have quinoa, I have avocado, I have celery, cauliflower, broccoli, spinach. So I eat this, I feel great, and it makes me feel good about myself. But listen, we all have our vices, and here's mine. Artificial sweetener. Okay, so this is one, stevia. I like to think that's really healthy because it's from a leaf. I don't know. But then sometimes, I take these and maybe I'll just use half a packet and then mix it with this one, half a packet of this one, because maybe it's like just a little cancer and I don't know. So in this week's Wellness Wednesday, I decided to dig a little bit deeper to find out what the impact of all these different artificial sweeteners really is on our bodies.
If you are diabetic, obese, with sugar addiction, okay, probably switching to pretty much any artificial sweetener is going to be a relative improvement. But, for my kids, I am not feeding them this stuff.
Chico family physician Dr. John Gannell tells me just because something's FDA approved, it doesn't make it a healthy choice. The FDA allows many different sugar substitutes. The most common are aspartame, like NutraSweet and Equal, saccharin, like Sweet and Low, sucralose, known as Splenda, and stevia, like Truvia or Purevia. Also, sugar alcohols are often added to processed foods. So aspartame, that's the key ingredient in my favorite gum, and then it also has something called red dye 40. I can go through about a half a pack a day of this stuff, so should I be worried?
Even though they're zero cavity additives, studies have shown weight gain, increased rates of fracture. I would say there is like a harm reduction when you're going from straight up sugar to some of the artificial sweeteners. One of the biggest benefits that's, I think, kind of not really controversial is to your teeth. So because it's not a sugar, you get less cavities when you're using an artificial sweetener versus sugar.
Dr. Gannell says sugar substitutes might help manage weight. But I notice after I eat my favorite stevia-sweetened high-protein cereal, I actually start to crave sugar and I just want to eat more.
We get this bump in our insulin for some of those additives.
So even though it's doesn't have any calories, doesn't actually have sugar, your body is tricked into thinking it is. And so when it comes to type 2 diabetes risk, we potentially really couldn't be, we could maybe be contributing to it still, even though it's 0 calorie.
Absolutely. Reward pathways in the brain are still formed. That's why, even though it's no calorie, a lot of people find it difficult to maybe kick that diet beverage addiction.
The Mayo Clinic claims sugar substitutes are not linked to a higher risk of cancer. Studies as far back as the 1970s, though, linked saccharin to bladder cancer in rats. But new research shows that doesn't translate to people. But other research on long-term daily use of artificial sweeteners suggests a link to a higher risk of stroke, heart disease, and death overall. So who do we trust and how do we know?
The reason you get contradictory results sometimes for these things is it's really hard to do a study over a very long period of time in a lot of people. I agree there's no slam dunk evidence, but I'd say where there's smoke, there's often fire.
Even if you don't have health consequences, Dr. Gannell recommends you ask yourself why you're seeking that hit of sweetness.
In my mind, I start putting sugar and artificial sweetener into food-like products that are actually drugs that are socially acceptable for us to consume and have permeated our food supply.
Haley Watts, Action News Now. Ruins all the fun, right, Alan? I mean, you think about what he said, it's kind of interesting. Like, if I'm going for, say, a Reese's peanut butter cup, right? Yes. I'm not doing that because I'm hungry. It's because I love it, and it makes me feel better, or whatever.
Can you ever have a Reese's peanut butter cup?
Well, of course, but I think it's kind of acknowledging there's food, and then there's
food-like products that are just for fun.
Yeah, just don't have 7 peanut
Right.
butter cups.
Maybe like 3.
Okay.
It's hard to stop.
Good story, good information. Thanks, Haley.